But at the same time, a lot of you guys are willing to go 100 grand or 200 grand in debt to go to school because it's safe. There's nothing safe about having to work your life away, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
No, I totally agree, bro. It's the difference between being an employee or being an employer mentality, right? So either you want to be a boss or you want to be bossed.
What's going on, everybody? Kelland and Mark Wilson, digitalfreedommovement.com. On today's episode, we're going to be having a chat about high income skills. As well, I'm going to be piping in quite a bit about knowing your worth. Okay, so I'll elaborate on that later. But yeah, Mark, take it away, brother.
Yeah, for sure, guys. And if you don't know what a high income skill is, it's a skill that will bring you 5 figures in monthly salary. Okay, and I'm sure probably the majority of you guys that are watching this probably aren't making 5 figures in a month. And that's cool. Telling me before getting into online business and learning these skills, we were there. But now he's got tons of checks and he flosses them. But guys, in the end of the day, and if you guys are watching the podcast, he's flossing checks. He's just throwing thousands of dollars worth of checks in here. Anyways, what high income skills are is, like I said, skills that will be able to generate you 5 figures or more. What those are one is closing, so sales. Being a high-end closer, I'm sure you've heard of that. It's become a bigger and bigger term online nowadays. 2 is being really good at video content. So that could be a multitude of different things, but you can generate so much money by being able to make very high quality videos nowadays, especially with all the different platforms that are out there. 80% of content that's put out on the internet, they say now, is video content. They say that it's going to go all the way upwards of 90% of content being put out there. So that's why it's such an important skill to learn. 3 would be marketing, being really, really good at making marketing and advertising to a specific niche, knowing how to do your targeting. 4 would be copywriting. And if you guys don't know what copywriting is, it's essentially either writing emails or writing text scripts within posts online. Either one of those, if you know how to copyright, you're gonna be printing money. There's so many different people out there that are really, really good entrepreneurs, but aren't very good copywriters. So they're willing to give you tons of money or percentages of the revenue for writing these emails or copy for them on posts. And then the 5th one is public speaking. This is the other one. So if you like any of those, you can make 5 figures from any of each one of those. And you don't have to be good at all of them or have passion for any of them. Kelland and me have definitely had intertwining different passions along the way to really, really get good at one of these things and make money. But we don't even do public speaking now. That's something that we've done a little bit of and touched a little bit into in our business entrepreneurial lives, but we haven't done tons of it. So you can be uber successful if you get really good at one of those. You don't need to be good at any of them, right, Kel?
Yeah, exactly. And high income skills, I guess this topic would be applicable both online and offline. Obviously, we're talking more so about online. So what's the difference? So high income skill offline would be, I'm going to say a doctor or a lawyer. They make pretty good money. That is a high income skill. So what's the difference between a high income skill online versus a high income skill offline? Difference, to get a high income skill offline, or AKA a job, you got to spend 10, 20, 50, 100, $300,000 on schooling to get that high income skill and to become employed after the schooling. So that takes a lot of time. It costs a lot of money. Versus online, legit, we market our course, guys, for $599 US, and it's on sale right now for $299. So night and day difference, and the potential online is a lot higher than $200K a year or $300K a year in pay. Furthermore, difference here is when you get your high income skill offline, again, I'll use the example of a lawyer or a doctor. You are trading your time for money. If you do not go to work, you do not make money. The difference being online, we're making money while we're making this podcast. Our advertising is running. People are seeing that advertising and they are buying. And when they buy, we get paid. So, that more so is what drove, I don't know, me, and I think it was Mark as well, into the online industry is we want to make money when you sleep, we want to make money when you travel, we want to make money while we talk to you beautiful, amazing people.
100%. And I mean, most doctors aren't making, say, $3,000 for 10 minutes, 15 minutes worth of work. Like, I don't know how long it usually takes you to make a post, but I mean, I can pop like great copy out in like 10, 20 minutes, and that copy can make me $3,000 sometimes, $5,000 sometimes for 30 minutes of work or less. I'm pretty sure there's no offline profession that's doing that.
You know what I think the big problem is in just society in general? So you guys are hearing this concept, and I'm sure that it makes sense to you. But the big problem here with a lot of people is that, again, let's hit the pros and cons list. When you pay, let's say, $100,000 or 200 grand for education to become a lawyer or a doctor, you don't have to spend money to make money. But online, it changes. For us to make a lot, like, a good income, we have to spend a good amount on advertising. We need eyes on our products and services to make money. And I feel like that's the big holdback for a lot of people trying to break into the online space, is they're not willing to spend or to risk losing money to make a lot of money, right? I think that's the big problem here. But at the same time, a lot of you guys are willing to go 100 grand or 200 grand in debt to go to school because it's safe. There's nothing safe about having to work your life away, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
No, I totally agree, bro. It's the difference between being an employee or being an employer mentality, right? So either you want to be a boss or you want to be bossed. And it still goes to the same thing. So I know tons of amazing copywriters, but they don't really have their own business. They're just copywriting for other people's businesses. They don't have other means of making money. So it's great, but they cap themselves because they're doing work for somebody else and they're having to always look for more clientele, where it doesn't cost them anything other than their time to just go get their clientele. But they're always going to be capped. So say if the person that they're working for, they write out an email for them, and that email generates them $30,000, usually making 10% of that. So you're making 3,000, which is great. But wouldn't you just prefer to write that email for yourself and make 30 grand? That sounds a lot freaking better, right?
Yeah, but again, the difference, Mark, is they'd have to spend money to do that. And that, in a lot of people's eyes, is risky, having to go out of pocket to start a business. And that's why most of us are employees, right? And it's funny because I'll hear my friend, oh, dude, you're so lucky. And then you'll hear other people say, oh, yeah, I know my buddy John, he owns this mechanical shop and he's so successful. He's got the big house and the nice cars and he travels a lot. But what they don't realize is they had to risk and they had to work their asses off for years and years and years to build up that, type of income, success, and that, right? So it's like, it's not that they're lucky. They're just willing to take more risks than you. And most likely they're willing to work a lot harder than you are. So it's like, if you're happy with your day-to-day grind, awesome, keep doing that. But I feel like a lot of you aren't, and a lot of you want to strive for more, but you need to know that you have to transition your mindset into a more, I don't know, I'm going to say risky mindset or business mindset if you're ever going to get to where your buddy John is. Right? And it's funny. And so what forces people to make that change? Desperation. When you become so fed up with your daily life, you are forced to make a change. It's really, really funny, actually. The other day, last night, Kirsten had, she's been having these nasty stomach pains after eating certain foods, and it keeps changing. Like she won't eat something, it'll go away, and then she'll get it again after eating a different type of food. And eventually, after last night, finally, she's in so much pain and agony that she said, fuck it, I'm going to the doctor. Holy shit, right? So when you're desperate enough, that's when you take action to find a solution to the problem that you're experiencing. It's kind of an interesting concept, and it works with more than just, financial stress and lack of time and stuff like that. It works with pain and agony as well. So
I really love that example, actually, because it makes so much sense. It puts it right in perspective, because I know for myself, I'll get sick and people will be like, you've been getting sick a lot, you should go see the doctor. I'm like, yeah, I probably should, and never do. And it's just like that. It doesn't affect me enough to want to make a change. It's just like when I used to work my job, people would be like, hey, you don't seem happy. I'd be like, yeah, I know I should probably make a change. And then I went on a decade at the same job. So it wasn't enough pain to really make me feel. And it was finally until my ego got hit that I made that change. And then I got into this. And when I got into it, I had experience in closing deals. So I obviously excelled at that profession right off the go. But there was one that Kelland like told me to like really dig into that I was really against, which was doing videos, of one of those high income skills to learn. And he was just like, you need to do this, Mark. Like you're an idiot. Like just do this. And I mean, obviously now I make videos every single day. But at that point in time, I really declined it. And I would have made so much more money if I would have just jumped onto that. But I was making fine enough money for a while, just being a really good closer. And until my life had to change and I had to level up because I got so painful that Kelland decided to go on a trip, and I got forced into a situation where I had to run a webinar. And instead of being extremely good because I should have practiced and should have put in the time to get better and hone in on that skill, because all skills take time, all skills need to be refined, I jumped on this webinar after 6 hours of mentally preparing myself for, and I fell directly on my face, sweating bullets, like it was a cold room, and I just sweat is pouring down my face, and I'm stumbling over every single word. And it's just because I didn't put in the practice, I didn't get the experience that I needed to be really successful in that. But that showed me I got a lot of pain there, and now I'm really good at video.
That's so funny. I forgot about that. Yeah, dude, you leveled up hard, dude. When I was in Thailand or something, and
Thailand, yeah.
And back then, Mark and I used to do webinars 2 a week. We do them Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, and so Mark would always be on them, I believe, but I was like the main host. And so again, as Mark said, I couldn't because the internet was so bad, so he had to take over. And I remember that, dude. You're like, oh my God, dude, I bombed this so bad. It was so horrible. We were live, and it was like, oh my God. But now look at Mark now. He's an amazing speaker, really good at talking, and very informative, good body language, great tonality. Goes to show that you can become amazing at something if you put the work in, right? And if you stay consistent with that. So good job, Mark. I'm proud of you, dude.
Thanks, bro. But that's the thing is, you guys got to understand that like at the beginning, you're going to suck. So any of these high income skills that will change your life, you will suck. Like you're not going to be good. It's just the same as like being a doctor. You don't just go through medical school and like never see the hospital. No, while you're doing your practicum, as you're doing it, you're learning as you're going. So it's the same thing with any of these skills. If you try to become a closer, you're going to suck at it. No matter how much information we give you, which we give you probably way too much information and probably way too much help, but we give that to you, you still have to implement that stuff and go through the trials and tribulations to uplift those skills and get those to those next levels. So you can be very successful, but there is a cost of learning.
That's right. And even lawyers and doctors and anything, you go to school for something, mechanics, anything, you go to school for something and then you graduate and you go to get the job, you still suck at it because you in majority, not all, but majority is all book learning. It's not necessarily hands-on. Oh, with some, I'm sure there is hands-on, but if you have the skills mentally and then you go to apply them physically, it's a little bit different, right? And so even in that regard, even if you went to school to get a high income skill, your chances are you're going to make less money when you start than you would someone doing it for 5, 10, 15 plus years. With time and energy and consistency comes skill. And with high skill comes a big income. So the last thing I quickly wanted to add in here, guys, is knowing your worth. So this is something I feel everybody does. On my first job, I made $7.50 an hour working for Subway. Mark, what did you make?
I made $8.
$8, well, 50. You beat me by 50 cents, right? So Mark made $8 an hour. I made $7.50. Do you think for 1 second, $7.50 an hour is worth an hour of my time currently?
We were just talking about your time for like a 10-minute phone call not being worth $21.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like, I'm not even willing to do. Yeah. Anyways, so knowing your worth. So a lot of you guys are, make $15 an hour, $20 an hour, 25, 30, $40 an hour. So And some of you guys go, wow, okay, well, if I got paid $40 an hour, I'd be loaded. Like I'd be way more comfortable financially. See, when you have this shift and you learn one of these high income skills that Mark was talking about, you start making 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, $50,000 a month, for some people. And when that happens, what happens? Your time becomes more valuable. You are worth more because you are making a larger income with less work. So know your worth, guys. One of the biggest things that I see a lot of new entrepreneurs and stuff doing, whether it's in e-commerce, selling clothes and whatever, anything, is to put the price point too low. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to, come out of the gates with, I want to charge $500 an hour for a 4-minute call or anything like that. But a lot of people undervalue what their skill set is worth in the first place. Right. And that's not good to do. Like I used to give my time out a lot more than I do now. But I know my worth more now. Right. So, and that's going to continue to go up as I get better, as Mark gets better at what he does and what I do. We're just going to keep charging more and more money. Period. And even right now, we way underbid ourselves because our mission is not simply to make more money. It's to help more people. And if our price point is too high, to get training and mentorship, then less people will be able to afford it and less lives will be changed. But that's the end of that rant. Mark, anything else you want to add, or are we going to close this bad boy?
No, I think that's very profound, and that's definitely our mission, is to change as many people's lives as possible. And that's the reason why we do price things at. So you always have to know what your intention behind all your decisions are, guys. Yeah. Like if you're pricing yourself at $100 an hour, just know that your intention is to get your worth is that. But if you're like, well, I would rather get more customers, but I know I'm going to be busier, just know that that is your intention because you know that you're going to be busier. So you can get 2 clients, work your bag off, or get 1 client and make the same, but you're getting 2 different results and you're going to live 2 different lives, right? So I know a lot of people that try to take on tons of customers and they just can't juggle it all. And Kelland, we were at that exact same issue at one point in time. Too many customers, too many people were trying to juggle because our mission was that. So we had to change, or else we would have never been able to spend time. And then there's Kelland now being able to spend 3 days in a row at the beach. So I mean, like, what life do you guys prefer to live, right?
Well, real quickly on this topic, consulting is my consulting business. I charge $400 an hour, guys. And the reason why I do that is I know the skills that I'm offering and the help that I'm offering is worth that times 10. Not only that, but I know the people that I'm talking to can afford it. They own a business, right? And I really want to rant on about sales and stuff and value, but we'll save that for the next one. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in to today's podcast. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or input, please do send us an email at info@digitalfreedommovement.com, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Oh, guys, one more thing. I just want to appreciate all the other 5 stars that we got, reviews that we got over this last week or two. Really, really appreciate that. And anybody else that's watching this, please take the time. We would really, really appreciate any of those reviews, 5 stars, comments, any of that type of stuff. Spotify and Apple love them. It's just going to move us up the ranking, get this thing viewed by more people. So we appreciate all the other ones and all the future reviews that we're getting, guys.
Okay, much love.
Thank you for tuning in to the Online Entrepreneur Experience by DFM. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions for Kelland or Mark to answer on our next episode, email us at info@digitalfreedommovement.com. We'd love to answer any of your questions. And don't forget to tune in next week for another amazing experience.